You guys would have seen what Robin went through to fix that like sign. You'd be thoroughly shocked. What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I am one of your co-hosts, David. We're coming at you from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with our daily, only on the weekdays, but sometimes randomly streaming live shows. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer: nothing that's said on this channel should be taken as financial advice. So please, as always, do your own research. Today, we have a very special guest joining us in about 25 minutes. George from CryptosRUs will be joining us to talk about all things cryptocurrency. Super excited. He is one of our favorite channels out there, so excited to have him come on. Also, Tim Cook is net negative on the Metaverse and believes AR technology will be the future. We'll talk about that. Plus, banks, majority of the large banks, what are they holding? You'd be surprised. Also, banks want more allocation to crypto and Bitcoin. We'll talk about that and much, much more. But before we can talk about any of that, we have to introduce you to your other co-host, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, and the stale information and we package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we don't just do live streams. We also do deep dives. We've been active on social media. We have a pretty interesting street interviews segment that we're almost done with. And then with the play to earn on the horizon. So make sure you don't miss any of that content, and you won't miss any of the content if you have your notification bell checked. And then also, if you have not yet done it, grace us with the thumbs up. We will give you 3 seconds to hit the thumbs up. 2, 1, okay. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. And then, yeah, I'm excited, man. You know what happened today?
What?
The Bitcoin went over 20K.
Wow.
And then I made a thumbnail for it, and then it went under 20K. Well, what do you know? It was too late to go back. I just full send it up 20K, you know?
You're the bearer of bad news. You're like, anything you touch turns into negative.
I was like, well, yesterday's narrative was
Resistance.
It was resistance. So that when it broke over 20K and it was over top of 20K, I was like, well, you know, your boy got to make a thumbnail because the bull whores are back. The bull's back, baby. There it is.
Was another horn.
Another
Like electric horn.
You're like literally like a little kid.
I know. Yeah. What can I say? I get extremely excited when
For animal sounds?
when yes, for children's noises, and also for bullish news in the price of Bitcoin. Bullish rallies in the price of Bitcoin get me going, because then it conviction for what we're
How
doing.
many cups of coffee have you had?
A lot, man. I'm juiced up. I'm ready to go, man. All right, let's get into a quick roll call before we get started. All right, so first up in the chat, we got Crit Cats coming in here. First in here.
Real quick.
Jumping in.
Kit Kats or Twix?
I like.
That's tough, right?
Twix.
Twix?
You know what? I'm gonna go Kit Kats.
Me too. I
Because
love
the
Kit Kats
Twix
so
is
much.
just too. It's the caramel is just a little heavier. Sometimes you just
sticky.
need a little quick little bite, man.
Just go
I love
all
Twix.
in.
You get
on
more of
that,
a
man.
crunch.
Yes, you gotta go all in. You can go just a little, all caramel, all messed up. That's how you go.
No, the Twix, it's like
Twix is good.
It gets like chewy and like stringy kind of thing going
I like
on.
the bounty.
It's
the
like
coconut.
it's
Oh,
like the mozzarella sticks of the chocolate world.
What is the chat thing? Twix or Kit Kat? Let us know. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So second up in here, we got Broke Yoshi, Liquidated Shorts, Bullish Kenny G, Jason, Crypto and Yogurt, Jimmy, and then Big Chili Willie, Why You Loud Gang, and then Hindi, Cito, Sean Burns, K Factor, Vegas Freeballer, Noel, Daniel In, and then we got and guy. Hit the like button is in studio and in the chat. There we go.
Want to hit the
And-
like buttons in studio?
Yeah. Hit the like button is in
Where?
the studio.
I don't see anyone in the studio. Oh,
We're so clueless. Sir Babe.
well, don't
and
make
then-
dumb jokes.
And then Servando, Jesse Oro, 151 Crypto. And George Ornelius, Jesse, and Adabauer.
What about Dolma?
I already said that.
Hmm.
And then I think that wraps it up. Yeah. Chris Maddox. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Has he been here before? Yeah, well, welcome back. Drop another one. And then Kyle in here.
Jimmy said no more free memberships. The SCC is coming after him.
Well, if you properly disclose how much you're paying for those,
yes, think you're fine.
Is it $3 a membership times 5?
15
so
bucks.
just gift memberships and say Sin City Crypto.
And you have to put your address in there as well.
Yeah. You make sure you dot the T's or dot the I's, cross the T's, whatever it is.
Cross the T's, dot the I's, cross the Y's. All right. I wanted to. So I found this kind of interesting, and I want to talk about it. So Telegram will now users exchange crypto in the app. That's pretty interesting. A couple things I've highlighted. Developers behind the Telegram wallet bot, which allows Telegram users to purchase crypto with a bank card, exchange, and transfer to other wallets. Well, they have launched a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange. If you remember, this wallet bot was launched in April, which allowed the users to buy and send Toncoin, which is a blockchain, a coin that was created by the founders of Telegram. The latest update, though, will allow sales of crypto between users through the Telegram app, with the exchange services acting as guarantors for each transaction. In a case of a disagreement between the seller and the buyer, the service will conduct a dispute resolution process. Users who want to sell crypto will pay a 0.9% commission fee, while buyers will not pay any. Toncoin and Bitcoin are the only ones that are available for purchase at the moment, with plans to increase the offering at a later date. And only Toncoin is able to be sent directly through the app and the chats. Now, Telegram has 55 million daily active users. So, Robin, you bullish, or is this not really a big deal?
Well, here's what concerns me is that Telegram is ripe with frauds and scams, probably more than anywhere else, right? And would you feel more comfortable connecting with someone through a DM on Telegram or downloading videos on Napster?
That's a good. Yeah, Telegram is full of bots.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
and I know I'm kind of dodging the question there. Overall, it is.
Did you mean that pun? Did you mean that?
Dodging.
No, remember the guy who commented on around the blockchain?
Yeah.
That was funny.
No, so overall, I think especially social media. Okay, so all digital platforms are gonna, I think, shift over to some kind of cryptocurrency model, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
And why connect a Visa card and be able to connect PayPal and be able to connect Apple Pay and buy digital products or pay for your digital services with your credit and your fiat in a digital manner, and not offer the crown jewel of digital finance, crypto, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think these are going to be the first companies to adopt this. And so I think this is a trend. We're seeing the integration of NFTs when it comes to social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. All of these platforms are going all in when it comes to this new emerging technology. More so in the NFT at the moment, but the cryptocurrency is right there with it. I mean, you also got tipping on Twitter as well. Yeah, it's coming. Do I care to use it in Telegram? No. I have, if anything, I feel like you just made it easier for the scammers to scam, right?
I mean,
right? You were like, hey, you know what? We're going to, instead of having to go and steal somebody's money on a different platform, we're just going to do it all right here. All right here.
Yeah. Real quick, big shout out to Chris Maddox with the $20 super chat. Then haven't caught a live stream in a while. Been getting that OT for more DCA money. That's my boy. Get that OT money, baby. Yeah, what are you DCAing into, Chris? Let us know. I'm curious. Your top 3 coins you're DCAing into. So I'm kind of with Robin on this one, in the fact that Telegram. I can't remember the last time we started a Telegram channel for Sin City Crypto. That didn't work out too well. We kept getting his bots and freaking scammers in there, and so. I kind of want to reference, and I'm going to go back and read this. If there's a disagreement between the seller and the buyer, the service will conduct a dispute resolution process. So essentially, if something bad happens to where, something goes wrong, you're going to have to go through Telegram customer support. And we all know customer service with these companies is a pain in the what to deal with. And that kind of goes against what crypto is, right? Crypto is permissionless. It's all in the blockchain. And so if you're sitting here getting scammed, I can't. I think this actually might be a net negative for Telegram, because they're going to get such an influx of people. Hey, this person did this. It's just going to be a complete shitstorm. So that's what I think. But commission's pretty low, 0.9%. I do think this is something we'll see. WhatsApp start doing, something I could see Meta start doing with their Facebook Messenger. So it's not something that I believe won't continue to go onto other platforms, but it's not something, I don't know. I think it's still early. What do you think? You think it's still early? You think this thing's still got a shot?
Gary Gensler, he has his own eyes on that. Don't worry. He's gonna keep an eye on that. Gary.
Also, is that a euro?
Yeah,
That is
10 euro, which is now $10. Super chat from Liquidated Short says, love the fun of your show. Thank you, my friend. What are your top 3 coins you're most bullish about for the next bull run? Peace, barbecue sauce. So I'll tell you mine. I'm bullish on Flow, Polygon, and Cardano, among other things, but those are probably my top 3.
Sweet baby Rays.
And Chris said Hedera, Algo, and ETH, all solid projects. So. All right, Robin, Market Watch, go.
All right. So getting into it.
Oh, by the way, Moby Sage said YouTube never alerted him. We go live 10:30 Monday through Friday every single time. So just remember that. All right.
Yeah, it's not just an in-house issue, but it's definitely across all of YouTube. Because I think I hear all content creators say, "Oh, I didn't get the notification. Blah blah blah." So. All right. So, getting into the markets. Bitcoin was over $20,000 this morning. Let's just take a quick look at the chart. Bitcoin coming in at $19,953.57. Now, let's see here. We have the daily chart. Let's pull the daily chart, see what happened. Yeah, this morning it rallied. Look at that. Now, still up in the last 24 hours, but you can see right before the stock market opened, the NASDAQ had a big pump. We'll get into that in a moment. But across the 20K mark here this morning, and, more evidence that 20K at the moment is resistance, because this over the 20K mark was short-lived. Will it flip it? What do you think, David? What's your vibe? You think it'll flip 20K, use as resistance, or do you think it's super strong?
So here we'll just take a look at the chart.
Okay.
So this is the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin. I got the Bollinger Bands here. Now we did see some constriction here on the 4-hour, but what I want to swap over to the daily, and I'll come back to the 4-hour to talk about price action. But on the daily, we can see the Bollinger Bands are starting to get tight. So we're trading above, close to the upper band here, which is the standard deviation of 2. So if we break above it, I think so if these Bollinger Bands keep constricting, the longer they constrict, the bigger the move's going to be, okay? But if it were to break out right now, which it seems like it's got a possibility to, I would assume, and this is just me assuming based off of price action, it's going to go this, and if I go to my guess is it would test this again, this 20,200, or if it falls, it's going to fall down to this 18,800. So we'll see. We'll see how long the Bollinger Bands stay constricted, and we'll see how big the move will be. But that's a Bitcoin. Oversold on the 4-hour and the daily, so, which is not good for a positive price action.
All right. And then taking another gander here at the markets, we have Ethereum still in the Ethereum zone of 1,300, and obviously extreme support here at 1,300, right? Don't you agree?
ETH?
Yeah.
Well, looks like 1250 was
The 1250?
Yeah. Well, we did have an inverse head and shoulders that we talked about yesterday.
But here's the thing: enough time has passed since the merge. You know, enough time has passed that I feel pretty comfortable that for one under $1,000 is not on the table anymore, right?
Right.
Because people were speculating that you had the merge coming up, and then after it would be sell the news, and then correct back down to 1,000 or even lower, especially since we're in the middle of a bear market. I comfortably, outside of Bitcoin dropping down to like 12,000 or something of that nature, I feel very comfortable that we will not see moving forward ever again $1,000 Bitcoin under 1,000. I mean, Ethereum. What do you think?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, the self-pressure...
You think it's possible it'll get under 1,000? I'm just saying.
I mean,
as long as Bitcoin doesn't go down to say like 12K, I think it's safe to say we'll 4 digits on Ethereum moving forward, right?
Yeah. I think going under 1K kind of depends on if there's a I don't want to say a black swan event, but if the markets start collapsing, let's say like a Credit Suisse starts going under, right, or something like that.
Man.
But you know, you have the sell pressure from the miners gone. You have the inflation reduced by I don't know how many, like 400 or 500%.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I don't know, but 12 or that 12 to 1250 range is pretty solid. So,
Yeah.
but I have actually have a couple more charts that I want to talk about. So the first one is XRP. So we talked about this yesterday. Daily chart. I had this trend line drawn here, going all the way back to last year, and I said, what we want to see is building support on top of this trend line, which we have. So this is good. I want to see this candle close green, and I want to see another candle. Doesn't have to close green, but close above this trend line. And then my next target level for XRP would be the 60 to 62 cent range, which we saw some resistance, and like an ultra bullish in the short term would be this yellow line, which is right at 89 cents. But that is a massive level of resistance. If we do get up there, I would expect a rejection. So if we blow past 62 and we stay above for 2-3 days, then I would target 89 cents as my exit.
Here's a question on XRP. So if you have some big issues when it comes to like the Swiss banks and things like that, let's say that Swiss bank collapses. So there's already some central bank issues when it comes to England, right? England, their economy, their central bank, they're printing money. They have their bonds, which are called gilts. Those are, that right there had to be saved by the economy. Where I'm getting at here is that a lot of uncertainty when it comes to central banks, right? And a lot of the most secure banks in the world, a lot of those, they're basically questioning what's going on. Is XRP going to be the solution? Is there going to be some mass exodus when it comes to the legacy finance that all of a sudden people are going to be looking for alternatives in the form of cross-border payments because of the failures of the banks? What do you think? Do you think it's possible?
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah. I mean, guy behind these conspiracies. Hey, the dollar's going to fail, and not the dollar's going to fail, but You know what I'm saying, right?
Dollar's definitely not going to.
Yeah, but
you sound
but,
like that one guy.
But yeah, what I'm saying is that your conspiracy theories are usually play out in some way that all of a sudden central banks ain't doing their thing, and then cryptocurrency as the savior, superhero. No,
I don't know.
Not at all.
I don't really have anything to say about that.
No,
yeah. No conspiracy.
You, Mr. Conspiracy Theory has
theories
no
today,
no XRP is going to take over the world kind of thing, huh?
Well, yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's cool. I'm just a little surprised. That's all.
Hey, I tend to surprise every once in a while, you know.
All right, and then lastly, we're just gonna take a look at the crypto bubbles. So see where we're at on the daily. So Elron up 11%. So is Doge, and then Uniswap up as well. XRP. Speaking of XRP,
You want to share your laptop, bro?
Yeah, and then oh shoot, my bad. And then so yeah, we got XRP up, Bitcoin Cash, Elron, Doge up. And then taking a look, big day in the legacy finance. NASDAQ up almost a full 3%, man. Absolutely huge. Absolutely huge.
We might have an idea why.
I'm surprised. You know, I did, you know, with the I'm surprised Bitcoin did 20K and stay over it. Obviously, with such a big day in risk on assets, you would figure the move was coming, the Bitcoin rally up over 20K, but you know what? I don't know. What do you think? You think we're gonna be over 20K by the end of the day? I mean, if NASDAQ, which it looks like, if NASDAQ closes over 3%, I think Bitcoin might end up second half of the day being over 20K.
Technically, we should, right?
Yeah.
Because it's still kind of correlated, but
because we went over, we probably had a bunch of sell orders, dropped the price back down, and I think now it's gonna go up. So
there's evidence though that I don't know.
Oh.
There's evidence it's kind of decoupled.
Oh,
You know, why don't we ask our guest what he thinks?
yeah.
What do you say? All right, let's go ahead and bring on. We have a very special guest. We're going to say George from CryptosRUs. What's going on, my friend?
Hey
guys, thanks for having me.
Hey, man. Big thank you to you for joining us. We really appreciate it. So, George, I want to start this thing off, and I want to share the very first time we met. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but here we go. Let's go ahead and play the video. Rock, let me know when you're ready, and I need you to take this thing away. Ready? All right. Will you take the banner away, Rocco, please? Thank you. All right, so George.
Sit back and enjoy. Thank you. What's up, crypto fam? Big Rob here. So we happened to run into George from CryptosRUs. He was trapped outside. We decided to let him in. Apparently, we're the guys with the golden pass here. So George, what's the vibe here, man? You enjoying yourself yet?
Yeah, this is my first Bitcoin conference, and I'm having a blast. It's actually pretty cool. There's a lot of vendors here. There's a project over here that is dealing with the Metaverse, and they have this like really cool table stand where you can actually feel like this magnetic thing on your hand, and if you pair that with VR, I mean it's really wild.
I didn't even
there's
see that stand,
projects,
man.
there's vendors out here that's really, you know.
Why is it so
mind,
like
so to
reddish?
speak.
Did you guys
And
do
it's
that on
pretty
purpose?
cool.
Oh,
It's pretty-
we were new. I had no idea how to change camera settings.
Yeah.
So we had this like $4,000 camera, and we watched like 2 YouTube videos, and
Oh, this
we
is
were
how you
like,
do it.
We're good.
I just thought it was funny. Rob was like, George was locked outside. Oh, man. So that was your first Miami trip, man. Was it everything you kind of hoped it was? Are you looking forward to next year's conference?
Supposedly, I don't know. I got some emails saying they're having another one already in somewhere
Amsterdam.
else outside of Miami, right?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They're escalating these conferences. I can't keep up. There's so many. And there's one that's going to be in California next week or 2 weeks or something like that.
There's a Vegas one this weekend, and I know you talked about this on your show today. You said there's so many conferences. I don't know how people keep up. I don't know either. We try to make as many as we can, but it's impossible. So
Yeah, but go ahead.
do you can you spend maybe a couple minutes? Let our community know. Maybe your backstory, why you do what you do. You know, you upload a lot of videos, man. I think you do 3 or 4 live shows a day. Plus, you have separate channels. What kind of drives you, especially through the bear market? If you can kind of expand on that.
Well, I, for one, love creating videos now. It's part of me. It's something that if I don't, any given day, if I don't work on some kind of content, either for CryptosRUs or Drivers Only or I Am George or any of the social media, channels that I have, like a TikTok or something, I feel bummed. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Like, I have to do it, right? It's like part of me. So that definitely helps. And I don't think everyone is quite there yet. But my backstory was I was in IT for a very long time. And then in 2008, during the last recession, when things were really bad, I lost a boatload of money with the stock market. I'm like, screw this, I'm out. And then come around 2013, when Bitcoin first hit $1,000, I'm like, what is this, right? Since I was in IT, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then I was thinking, well, I got to make up for it. So I got into mining Litecoin back then. Didn't really understand what Bitcoin was all about, right? Made some money, and then unfortunately, in 2014 things came down. So that was like 2 cycles ago, or maybe 3 cycles ago. I don't know. I lost count. And then I got scared, left, and then came back in 2017 when Bitcoin hit 1,000 again. And then that's when I knew I made a big mistake. I got a little older, a little wiser. So I'm like, this time around, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to stick with it and just continue to educate myself, and then start educating others on it. And that's when I started my channel, late 2017. And I've been streaming pretty much every day since then. So that's amazing, kind of my story.
Yeah, definitely one of my, I'm so busy here with the studio, putting content together and research. I don't get to venture out into watching other people's channels much, honestly, but definitely one of the very few that I watch regularly. So we really appreciate your content, and have tons of respect for you. And yeah, you bring the alpha, man.
We know you're a big XRP guy. Do you have any XRP in your bag? Are you any Ripple, any XRP?
Do you mean the people's currency?
What?
That's what you mean, right?
Dude, stop it. Stop it.
The people's currency.
George,
I think
are
it
you
should
selling?
be
Oh, did you take it off
everywhere.
your wall?
Are you gonna put that on the wall back there, like above the Bitcoin logo?
I did it once, but it fell off. So I may put it back on
Fell
again.
off? Oh, I wonder how it
It
fell
fell
off.
off.
That's funny. All right.
Did Gary Gensler have something to do with it?
He gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, you need to take that off your wall." But yeah, I don't have a huge bag. What I am rooting for is Ripple to win this lawsuit, because it's absolutely huge for an entire crypto industry. Gary really does want to control everything, like literally everything. His last declaration was basically anything on top of the Ethereum network, regardless if it's a security, because it's on top of Ethereum's network, it's within the U.S. jurisdiction, first of all, and second of all, it's a security, so they get to control it,
Right.
which is absolutely insane if he could just go out and make declarations like that. But right now, who's challenging him? No one. So I really do want to see Ripple win, put Gary in his place a little bit, and then hopefully we can.
There's also the Kim Kardashian thing. That's not just like a TMZ news article there. That's like real. You have Gary Gensler saying that content creators, celebrities, these people need to disclose how much they're getting paid for their advertisements, and that they need to clearly make it an advertisement, or disclose that it is an advertisement. So that he was on CNBC on an interview saying that, like, hey, you need to disclose that it's an ad. You need to disclose how much you made. And, I guess maybe in the days of not financial advice may not be enough, at least in Gary's eyes. So I mean, the man's reach, just when you think he can't reach any farther, you know, the nodes are mostly set up in the U.S. It's a U.S. jurisdiction. Then you have the celebrities need to disclose how much they're making, and so it's
for me the bigger thing was, and George, you can talk about both of these things, but for me the bigger thing was when they went after Ian Bellina, and in the SEC lawsuit, they talked about because a majority of the value it is now in our jurisdiction. What are your thoughts on that? Are they crossing a line?
Yeah, that was what I was just referring to. Basically, well, the first thing about Kim Kardashian celebrities, they have done that before, even before Gary was there. I don't know if you guys remember Floyd Mayweather shielded some token that went under. Steven Seagal did too. He got in trouble for that. DJ Khaled got in trouble. I mean, so that's not new. These celebrities, they probably don't know what the hell they're getting involved with. They just got a big fat paycheck and that's it. They settle. I mean, honestly, Gary was just using Kim as an example, and he came out with some, informative video, like some PSA message video, like, oh, look at me, look at what I did. I went after Kim. I mean, he's really trying to, again, solidify his power at the SEC and solidify the power of the SEC. I mean, that's what he's trying to do right now, trying to scare everyone into thinking that the SEC could just do whatever the hell they want. So that's number one. Number two, in terms of just declaring that because vast majority of transactions is in the U.S., somehow that means that all these projects, like the one that Ian Bellina came out with, is under U.S. jurisdiction. I mean, that is really crossing a line. I'm sure if you look at, for example, internet traffic, okay, I'm pretty sure a vast majority of, let's say, internet traffic, YouTube traffic, a lot of other traffic that could be worldwide. I mean, YouTube is probably a bad example because YouTube is a US-based company, but there's probably a lot of foreign companies that have a lot of traffic that's within the U.S. Doesn't mean that the U.S. can just declare that it's a U.S. property, right? So I don't know. I do think there's a gray line that he's crossing, but again, no one's challenging it, right? No one's is suing the SEC for this. No one is bringing them to basically in front of a courtroom and saying how overreaching they are. I think the only agency that's close is the CFTC, but they're not really attacking the SEC either. They're just saying, hey, in terms of crypto, we want to be the watchdog. We want to control Bitcoin and Ethereum, not just Bitcoin. And they also visited the People's Currency's office, XRP's office, or Ripple's office. So they want to be the watchdog. So they're kind of challenging the SEC, but outside of them, no one else is daring to.
Yeah, and we actually we're going to talk about the FSOC came out and said crypto is could be harmful for the U.S. economy, and they want regulators to step in. And so we'll talk about that. But let's get into some of the biggest news of the day. So first thing I want to talk about is stocks. They jumped on the emergency Fed meeting that happened yesterday behind closed doors. This is sourced from multiple places. It was a closed door meeting, and this is direct quote, review and determination by the Board of Governors of the advance and discount rates to be charged by the Federal Reserve banks. Now, if you remember, and I'm sure, George, you covered this yesterday, the UN urged central banks, including the U.S. Fed, to stop hiking rates as it hurts emerging countries. And the price, Robin and I talked about this in the beginning of the show, but the markets are rallying, and part of it could be the investors repricing changes of some sort of pivot from the Fed. Now, do you think it's coincidence that the UN came out and said, hey, central banks, stop hiking rates, you're hurting emerging countries, and the Fed has an emergency meeting, which is not very common? Do you think that's coincidence, or what are your thoughts? Are we going to see a pivot here soon?
Well, first of all, this this emergency meeting. I don't know if it was such an emergency. Periodically they do just have talks. Maybe they just want to have some free lunch or something. You don't know.
Right. Taxpayer paid lunch.
But I think the UN. I think it's a pretty big declaration for the UN to say, hey, you guys need to stop it. A lot of other countries, the developing countries, are suffering, especially with some of their currencies are just really getting hammered, absolutely hammered against the USD, which basically makes trade. It stops trade basically. Like they can't survive. So I get it. I get what they're trying to do to try to stand up for the little guys, right? But honestly, Powell and the rest of the board of governors, their first priority is the American people, right? And the United States and what the United States is going through. And they're going to do what they can to stop inflation. They only know one way, and that's to try to make people broke. And they're probably not going to relax a lot on that stance. If they get tremendous pressure from the UN or anyone else, maybe they become a little bit dovish. Let's say the rate hike that's supposed to be 75 basis points goes to 50 basis points, maybe something like that. But don't expect come November, they're just going to say, okay, we're not going to raise rates at all because the UN told us to. That's not going to happen, right? So I do think, as for a coincidence, maybe there's some correlation there why the markets are rallying right now, or it could be simply because last week we were very oversold, and this week people are buying cheap stocks and crypto, and also the start of October. October, traditionally speaking, is a good month. We're heading into the latter half of this year. The Santa rally, Christmas rally, that could be around the corner, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. And if you happen to study the stars, you would know that the autumn equinox just happened too. And I've shown this before. If you look at the autumn equinox, the last 2 years in 2020 and 2021, what followed afterwards were tremendous bull runs. So
confirmed. Bull run confirmed. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, you know what? If that's the case, then I'm about to go grab the Big Dipper and straight up scoop up some of these some of these buy orders. So here's my thought. And I've been pretty vocal when it comes to the reason we're even in this inflationary situation. And one, in the short term, it is easy to point the finger at supply chain and even pandemic shutdowns, but I think the obvious elephant in the room is the money printing, and that I think it was like 3 to 4 times the amount of money in circulation was created over the span of 2.5 years. And I think that here's the thing. Here's my question. Is it possible? Because in my crypto mindset, in my kind of philosophy, is like, hey, why don't we scale back the printing? Why don't we remove some of the surplus of money that got printed from the supply? And the Fed can do it by selling selling bonds and then just not.
They were supposed to offload $45 billion a month,
and selling maybe the mortgage-backed securities that they have. There's a lot of ways they could decrease this circulating supply. It would go against their nature and what they've done historically and with the whole fiat mentality. But I'm just saying that maybe at some point, maybe is that an option on the table, or you think
they can't even stick to their benchmarks? They were supposed to do $45 billion for 3 months and then $90 billion for the next 3 months. They did $40 billion in a cumulative 3 months versus per month.
I think it might have been 2 meetings ago, or I think it might have been 2 meetings ago. And some reporter, after Powell does his press conference, there's Q&A afterwards. And someone asked him about reducing the balance sheet, and he flat out said, that's not a concern right now. We're concerned with rate hikes and stopping inflation. Then we'll start really hammering out decreasing the balance sheet. So he already admitted that that's not a priority. But Robin, as for removing the money from circulation, you know how there's certain coins that allows you to burn, like by sending to a burn address, like Sheeb?
Yeah.
Robin, if Powell called you up and said, hey man, we need to decrease the circulating supply of dollars out there. I would like you to burn $1,000 every single day. Just withdraw it from your bank and just burn it in front of your house. Are you going to do that?
Myself personally, no. But
For the good of the people, you need to burn $1,000 every day. Come on.
Come on, guys. What are we doing here?
It's really hard to do once you have handed it out. You print it, you handed it out, and it's not all of it's physical cash given out. A lot of it is forgiveness and tax breaks, stuff that the government can't get back anymore. So what they do is, there's two things really. And no, I take it back. There's three things that they could do. And I'm not the most educated guy when it comes to how money really works in the U.S., but I'm starting to learn. And the more I learn, the more I think it's a giant Ponzi scheme. So you think about it, the U.S. government needs, I think the budget is $1 trillion a year to operate, and I think 800 million of that is for defense and everything else. But how do we get $1 trillion per year? Well, you collect taxes. There's only so much you can collect through taxes. And number two is you sell treasury bonds, which right now is great because the US dollar is so strong. All these other countries are buying it. So they just sell treasury bonds and notes and as much of it as possible. But whatever they can't collect through these means, then there's problem, right? So what do? They print out more money then. So that's the three ways that the government can operate. And the problem with this setup is we're never in a surplus. We're always in a deficit. We haven't seen a surplus since 2000, I think. So it's been 22 years of deficit, and the deficit is getting worse with the last few years. So now we have so much, the U.S. government has so much debt that it has to repay through these notes and bonds that they have sold, so much interest they have to pay because people buy treasury bonds for those interests, right? And there's no way to pay them without issuing new money or new bonds. Do you see? Is that not a Ponzi scheme? That's exactly
bingo.
what a Ponzi
bingo,
scheme is.
Dude. Bingo.
That's how the U.S. government is operating. A Ponzi scheme is basically you're promising all these people that gave you money, high interest, and you're paying back the interest through new money that's coming in, right? That's how Bernie did it. That's what the U.S. government is doing right now. Honestly, there's no other way for them to make money. That's the only thing they could do. So that's why so many people are calling the death of the USD someday, because with this model, there has to be a point where there's too much debt, too much interest. You can't sell enough notes. Or what if one day the US dollar is not so strong anymore and no other country wants to buy our treasury notes and bonds anymore? Then where the money going to come from? Well, then they have to spin up the money printer and print more. It's just an unsustainable thing. So there's no good solution in terms of the U.S. getting out of it.
Ponzi scheme is that there's always a break point. There's a point where there literally is no more that can be spread around, and then the system fails. So if you were to compare the monetary system we have here to a Ponzi scheme, then you're saying that at some point there's going to be a failure. There's going to be a failure point where you have an epic collapse. And could something like that be the next depression, or could it because of the direction we're going, they keep kicking that can down the road. They keep preventing recessions. They're just, pulling the rubber band back.
It's a can anymore. It's like a barrel.
A barrel, yeah.
Yeah. But here's the issue is as they're raising interest rates, so the rates that the Treasury securities are being released, those interest rates go up too. And so, right now we're at, I believe, close to 130% debt to GDP ratio, which is insane. And so, like you said, George, you're just going to have to print. And if the rates are going up, well, it's going to cost more money to service those. And so it's just a messed up situation.
Here's a question. I want to pivot here. Did you see the breaking news with Elon? Did you?
I'm sure he did.
No? Which one?
All right, real quick.
It just I'm gonna pull it up. It broke like 30 minutes ago. So.
Real quick, I'm going to pull it up. But if there's one word that comes to mind when you hear Elon Musk, what is that one word?
Coach?
Eccentric.
Eccentric. crazy. Loud spoken. Well, here you go. The man looks like he backpedals more than a guy on a bike. Elon Musk changes course and proposes going through with Twitter deal at the original price. It's a source from CNBC. Twitter shares were halted Tuesday after Bloomberg reported that Elon plans to go through with his acquisition at $54.20 a share. And then the stock jumped 15% and then was halted for a second time. So what are is Elon buying Twitter good for Twitter? Is it going to be, a lot of people are saying it'll be good for crypto. A lot of the bots will go away. I know you're pretty, you got a pretty big platform on Twitter. What are your thoughts?
Also, was this planned? Was he planned on pulling the plug and then jumping back in at a lower price point, or
same price though? Same price.
I think his whole intention, you guys saw the conversation that was leaked between him and Jack, right? Jack was kind of talking about, that was recently.
No, please.
Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't see it.
So Jack was basically, I think it was a text message. Basically, Jack was explaining to Elon that, his biggest sin was going public with Twitter, and it was just going in the wrong direction, and he needs to get out, and he wants to create a decentralized version, and he asked Elon for his help. And he said he wanted to get Elon on board on a board seat for Twitter, and the other board member just said no, he's too erratic or something like that. Yeah. And Elon said that's a good idea, but I would still like to see if we can make Twitter better. So I think ever since that conversation, I think, and Elon's on Twitter so much, this is like main platform. So I truly believe that he does want to make Twitter better. His intent all along was to buy it, but I think he got tired. Elon knows how to play games too. I think he got tired of the board members and the new young CEO, trying to do what they can to dissuade him from buying. But then, he came up with such a big offer, right? Then they had no choice but say, okay. But the problem is that Elon probably thought about it because stocks, the whole market has been tanking. He probably thought about it. It's like, well, this was probably a stupid price. So let me play some games. Let me claim that, there's too many bots and this and that. Let me see if I could drive down the price. And then, that got us to, the Twitter suing him and stuff like that. But recently, maybe he's encouraged by the markets moving upwards now, and he figured it's still better to buy it. I don't know. But I think the intent was to buy it all along. Then he decided to get a little, I don't know what you call it, a little cheeky with them, trying to play this game to try to get them to lower the price. They won't budge. So now he's like, all right, whatever. Let me just go through with it. So that's kind of my thought. But I do think his intention is just to make it better. Hopefully. I have stayed off Twitter since, I think, July. I have not tweeted, not made any posts, because I think Twitter is really toxic. I mean, not only is it toxic, but there's just every single thing is a bot. I mean, if you have a big audience, like as soon as you tweet something, there's a bot that responds in your name, and no one knows what the hell's going on. So I've been off Twitter for quite some time.
Michael Saylor's brought up a couple interesting remedies when it comes to the bots, as far as other verification or check marks through the integration of a subscription service, something like $1 or $2 or something like that, where bots would have a difficult time creating a massive amount of accounts without having to invest a lot of capital. I'd like to see something like that. And I think Elon Musk, talked to Michael Saylor quite, before the purchase of his Bitcoin. And so we know that they are on a friendship level and discuss strategies. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the,
can't get worse,
the proposals that Saylor came up with would get integrated. So
it can't get worse, right?
What if, let me ask you a question. What if after Elon takes his advice, and after he acquires them, he requires people to put down Doge instead of Bitcoin? Do you think Michael Saylor would still use Twitter?
Good question. He would delete all his accounts. I mean,
That's
I don't
a real
know.
possibility. Elon is still going to support Doge.
Yeah,
So
he's
what if he
the
did
Doge
that?
father.
Yeah, I wonder if all the Bitcoin maxis are just go jump off the platform.
You think so? That might not be a bad thing, though. The
I don't
toxic
know.
maxis, you know, the toxic maxis.
Well, it is digital energy. You know?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to FSOC news. They're issuing a crypto warning for the U.S. economy. This is sourced from CNBC. The Treasury Department's Financial Stability Oversight Council released a new report on digital assets yesterday. They identified crypto assets as well as lending and borrowing on the industry's trading platforms as an important emerging vulnerability. They went on to recommend legislation that empowers financial regulators to more vigorously oversee the industry, as well as expanding bank exams to require federal and state agencies to look at services provided by crypto asset service companies. Now, do they have a point? Are we getting there, or are we already there to where if another thing like Celsius happens or Voyager happens, it could be harmful to the U.S. economy as a whole? Or do you think they're just trying to get ahead of, that doomsday scenario one day in the future?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a combination. I mean, obviously, a lot of people in this space, in the crypto space, is all clamoring for like decentralization. We don't want government. We don't want regulation, stuff like that. But obviously, people have been burned by the likes of Celsius and Voyager and, of course, Terra, but that's Terra's South Korea. But, so I think some regulation could be good. Regulation of the exchanges also could be good. For example, Coinbase, for years, that people were doing insider trading inside Coinbase, right? Recently, there was like one ex-product manager or something, and he got caught. But there were a lot more people inside Coinbase that were insider trading, and I have no doubt there's other exchanges that had the same thing, right? And so these kind of things and fraud and all this stuff, I think some regulation could help. And definitely you can have some sort of consumer protection, right? And you can't have exchanges say, well, we're FDIC insured, so don't worry if we go bankrupt. No, they clearly lied to the people like Voyager did. Yeah. Voyager kept claiming, oh, we have FDIC insurance, don't worry about it. Right. Obviously, now people know that really means nothing. That only protects you if the bank they use collapses, not if the company itself, like Voyager, collapses. Right. So I think some oversight like that could definitely help consumers. The issue is, of course, we're all worried about them overreaching, kind of like the SCC, and making it so prohibitive for these crypto companies to survive that it really stuns innovation.
So do you want to see similar regulations when it comes to custodial services like Celsius, and like the new Circle is talking about being like a
registered bank?
Yeah, and would you like to see the same kind of regulation in that sector in the crypto as you would be in the banks? Because I'm not against that idea. I think they are pretty comparable as far as their services.
Celsius was a shadow bank. I mean,
yeah. Like if you think about it, okay, so if you're a high net worth individual and you just bought, like, let's say you're Michael Saylor, you have $4 billion, $3 billion of the Bitcoin, and he's entrusting that Coinbase custody is going to store it safely for him, right? But when it comes to exchanges right now, the insurances that they could buy is only in the hundreds of millions. I think Coinbase, whatever insurance they have, only covers up to like 300 million. Okay, so obviously that's a big gap. So I could see, like basically what you said, if there's a strict regulation on custodians holding people's crypto, that they must have, let's say, $1 equivalency of what they're holding on to, I think that could be a good thing. Because right now, there are a lot of people with a lot of crypto that they think, just by storing with a custodian they're protected, right? Like they're with, if you store in Fireblocks or you store with Gemini or Coinbase, it's 100% protected. Maybe from a security aspect, but not from if they go belly up and they need to sell your assets. Coinbase said so as much. If they go bankrupt, they could sell your assets. So why would you trust them to hold your crypto then?
That's what Voyager did, and that's what Celsius is doing too.
But also, don't forget that Voyager, also was being advertised at the Dallas Mavericks arena, and so people are seeing it. So it's not like it's something that's only on the internet that you hear from your friends. I mean, you're getting advertisement from it's like
big places. We're starting to go mainstream, right? We're starting to go mainstream. Crypto.com and Voyager, and then Voyager does that, and then Celsius does that, and it's like we take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. It seems like, but I feel like the longer we stay, obviously the more the markets mature and regulation comes in. Because I'm with you, George. I believe regulation is necessary. It's just, are we going to have sound regulation that doesn't hamper innovation and technology, or are we going to have people like Gary Gensler come in and just everything's security, decentralized DAOs have to come in and register? Like, what are you doing, man? So yeah, we'll see. But now I have an interesting question I want to ask you. Do you think digital assets like crypto the regulation should be dispersed between CFTC, Treasury, Commerce, SEC? Or should they create a whole, maybe not a branch of government, but a separate committee that kind of entails everything, and that just be the main regulator of cryptocurrencies and digital assets?
That's an interesting question. I think the latter solution is probably best. You have some new agency that kind of controls everything. But if you look at how stocks work, like the CFTC controls commodities and futures trading, and I don't know if it's options trading is under their jurisdiction too. It could be. While the SCC controls IPOs, controls stocks and everything else, right? So there's a separation there, and I could see how if we had a clear definition of what is a security, what isn't, then we can have dual agencies controlling the space. But the thing is, these are legacy agencies. They don't know quite how to handle everything that's out there with crypto, right? Like, how do you handle DeFi, for example? How do you handle staking or airdrops? There's a lot of stuff that's kind of mixed in between, right? If a project airdrops a whole bunch of free tokens to people, but the people are anticipating that they're going to make money with airdrops. So is that a security? They never paid for it, right? So is that a security or not? So there's so many gray lines. So I don't know if they could properly define everything. So actually creating a new agency, I think, would probably be the best case, where you hire a whole bunch of people that actually really know what they're doing, and or really understand, and hopefully they control things properly. But then again, we all thought Gary Gensler understood things. He taught blockchain class at MIT, and look at what he's doing.
Little did we know.
Well, we've seen the creation of committees. Like, you have like different boards and committees that that regulate the housing market, international trade, energy, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a branch of government. It's just somebody that can direct different sectors. They can basically make the decisions on who's gonna regulate what, instead of it being a grab for power where you have Gary Gensler saying no, this is all under our
jurisdiction. It's a tug of war. It's a big tug of war.
It's all under our jurisdiction is what I feel like is happening. And I think if you had a council that was made up of individuals that are well respected in the space, maybe someone from the mining, maybe like someone that represents the mining side. You have a couple of CEOs from around the industry, and then you also put some legacy finance people, some banking people in there, and then let this committee decide who regulates what in what fashion. I think that's something that we've seen time and time again in our own personal markets as far as legacy finance is, when it comes to healthcare and things like that. So that's what I would wish for, but it doesn't seem like we're making any traction on that. We have the Cynthia Lummis bill. That seems like our best shot at some kind of form of regulation here in the, in the near future.
And Robin brought this point up a few shows ago, and it was a really good point. He's like, look, when an ICO launches, yeah, you can compare it. It's kind of like a security, but as it goes through the maturation phase of the blockchain, right, and becomes decentralized and as a DAO, then it's not really a security. So it's such a unique asset and asset class where what are you going to do? Hand it off to the SEC in the beginning, and then once it becomes decentralized, hand it over to the CFTC?
And like you said, you could even make a case that Bitcoin during its early infancy was a security, and then at some point now it's a consensus that it's a commodity. So at what point did it transition? And you know what? And I think that right there, the identification of when it goes from one security to commodity. What point does it switch? And then I think if that can be identified, or if there's some kind of checklist that can be done, a new what's the Howey test? A Howey test, but one for crypto. You know what I'm saying? Where you pass these four things,
Satoshi test.
And now you're decentralized, and now you're no longer privy to SEC regulation, and now you're in CFTC land.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no right or wrong answer. It just depends on who's in charge of who determines that, I guess.
The right answer is let's get rid of Gary Gensler. That's the right answer. All right, let's move on to some MasterCard news. MasterCard launches CryptosRUs. I'm curious to get George's take on this. It's a source from CNBC. They are debuting MasterCard, a new software that helps banks identify and cut off transactions from fraud-prone crypto exchanges. They're going to be using an artificial intelligence algorithm to determine the risk of crime. And this CryptosRUs will be powered by CipherTrace, which is a blockchain security startup that MasterCard acquired last year. Banks and other card issuers, this is how it's going to work. Banks and other card issuers are shown a dashboard with color-coded ratings representing the risk of suspicious activity. The AI algorithm is the one who determines the risk of the crime, and the card issuers themselves, not MasterCard. The card issuers will make the judgment call on whether to turn away a specific crypto merchant.
Am I the only one that is kind of scared by this?
Well, I want your guys' opinions. Robbie, why don't you take this first? Are you nervous about this?
I don't know. I feel like it's like an ugly version of the credit rating, and it's something I was happy to get away from going into crypto. And I feel like now you have now the risk rating, right? And you're color coded. Now all of a sudden, you transact with the wrong exchange, and now your risk rating went up, and now you're locked out of certain DeFi programs. I could see a lot of negatives to this. George, what's kind of your take?
I see this differently. I don't think this has anything to do with your credit worthiness or credit rating. This is like fraud protection. It's just like, I'm sure you guys have gotten text alerts or emails saying, hey, we detect a suspicious purchase. Do you authorize this, or did you do this? Basically, I think that's what's the equivalency of this, except it's coming from exchange. It'll probably say like, hey, did you just send your crypto from your exchange to whatever merchant that you're buying something from? I think that's what it sounds like this is. And I'm sure whatever credit card companies already use, their algorithms to determine what's fraud and what's not. I mean, it's pretty accurate for the most part. They're just applying it to crypto transactions. So I don't know. I never really spend my crypto, so I don't really worry about it. I think crypto is just for holding, but maybe eventually when we're all, living on our yachts, and we need to spend our Bitcoin or whatever, then it'll be important.
Well, let me say the yachts probably won't float here in Vegas because Lake Mead is drying up. So it's
you dig your own pond, okay, and then you can put your yacht on there.
We're gonna park that thing at the Bellagio.
Lake, okay? You dig your lake.
We're going to the Bellagio. I don't know. For me, it's this whole thing where MasterCard's like, all right, our AI will tell you whether the risk, and then the bank issuer itself. So, I mean, can you see the government coming in and kind of maybe overstepping and saying, hey, I don't know. I just, the whole ethos of crypto is decentralized. where it's like the Wild Wild West, we do our own thing, and then now you're having these intermediaries coming in. And I agree that, you know, the whole fraud thing, it is, I have saved my bank account a couple of times by getting those fraud alerts on my phone. Like, hey, did you spend money here? But this is like, this isn't like someone spent the money and you're like, hey, this spent the money. It's like, hey, we think this crypto exchange might be more prone to fraud. You can halt everything going in and out of this crypto exchange. I mean, at what point are we like, all right, I mean, they say it's an algorithm. I don't know. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, so I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if you're worried, first of all these exchanges are going to be compelled to send all of your transactions to them. Okay. So if you're worried about being tracked, then stay off the exchanges. I mean, that's quite simply, that's the answer. Yeah. There's no doubt that every single exchange in the US and probably around the world soon will be compelled to share data. I mean, this is the reason why so many countries are coming out their digital CDBC, because cash is actually hard to track. Crypto is easy to track. So, right. So that's the thing. This whole notion, crypto is used for illicit activities, is actually the opposite. You could actually do a lot more illicit activities with cash than you can with crypto, because you could actually see exactly where it's going to. So, I mean, bottom line is, yeah, everything's going to be tracked. Also, everything will be taxed, because most importantly, they want to collect that tax dollar from every individual. So, if you don't want to be tracked, start learning DEXs and start trading on DEXs. That's why they were created, So the worry is that somehow DEXs now just gets declared by the United States, by the SCC, that, okay, since most transactions from Uniswap is within the US, we're going to regulate Uniswap, even though it's not a US-based project, right? Something like that. I don't know if Uniswap is actually from the US or not, but, it's just an example. That's one of my fear, is that there's nothing that you can use that is decentralized, right? Hopefully that's not the case. Right. But
seems like that's the direction that we're going, though. I mean, with the Tornado Cash situation, where you're basically banning code, you bring up Uniswap, and there's really no distinction as far as there's no difference between Tornado Cash as far as it being a code and people using it in a decentralized manner for their own financial narrative, and you can say, hey, I was laundering money, but it's kind of the same premise. Money goes in, value goes in, value comes out. The same thing can be said for a DEX. And I understand that the final product is a little different, but the premise itself and its utility is very, very comparable. And it's kind of scary to me. You brought up Uniswap. Is that next on the chopping block for regulation when it comes from Congress? Because, I mean, if someone's narrative is, hey, DEXs are bad, we need to put an end to them. I mean, it's pretty much a carbon copy what they did to Tornado Cash they could do to a DEX, right?
They could, but there's no way you could try to shut down every single DEX. There will be pro countries that are favorable to blockchain innovation, and there's going to be new DEXs that come out, and that's the thing. That's why you want to control your own crypto. If you have Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever in your wallet, you can transact with whatever DEX you want. The thing is, if you're relying on exchanges, then, your wallets and everything will probably be tracked, and it'll be harder to do that way. But, if you're safely securing your crypto into a wallet that is only used for, let's say, decentralized purposes, right, then you have nothing to worry about. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think your concern is valid. The U.S. government, the SCC may go after a few DEXs out there, the bigger ones, and that is a concern, right? So that is where hopefully the right people stand up to the SCC. Maybe some other agencies like CFTC or U.S. Treasury Department. I don't know if they're going to do anything, but I bring them up because they probably will be controlling the stable coins. But we'll see.
You know, George, before we let you go, I have one very important question. Robin already knows what's coming.
Is it about the
Barbecue
people's
chicken
currency?
pizza.
Oh,
Barbecue chicken pizza, yes or no?
Not pizza.
Barbecue chicken pizza?
Yeah. With the onions and the bacon
No,
and
with
the
the
chicken, barbecue
The
sauce,
barbecue sauce and the chicken.
smoked
I mean, I
Gouda
have
cheese.
nothing against it, but I have not had one where I thought it was amazing. It's just like, okay, it's decent food, but nothing like, wow, it makes me want to order it, again or something like
So
that.
what's your favorite pizza?
I just like regular pizza, just like regular cheese or regular sausage, maybe a
There you go.
supreme here or there.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really picky when it comes to pizza.
Fair enough. Our
You know-
producer Rocco is from Italy, and so when he watched me eat barbecue chicken pizza for the first time, looked like he was going to turn into Joe Pesci and strangle me with a floss.
It was a nightmare.
Right at the table, he almost had a panic attack. So, George, thank you so much again for joining us. I know we went a little over the allotted time, and I know you're a busy man. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Anything exciting new happening in the CryptosRUs universe? Any new channels launching? Anything you want to share with our community?
No, not really. I'm still cranking away two videos pretty much every day. I'm starting to dab with more macroeconomic kind of videos. I did one on housing market, go do another one on car market for this Saturday. So hopefully people are receptive to that. But I do think, there's definitely a lot of correlation. You can't turn a blind eye to what's going on around the world. And there's definitely a huge correlation with inflation, with the money printing, with all this stuff, with crypto, right? So the more educated we are, the better we are for it. So yeah, that's what I'm working on in my other channels, still producing some great car content, although it sucks, in the US when it comes to cars right now because you can't get them and they're
What's,
too overpriced.
Robin just got one.
Yeah, I just got a Mercedes today or this week. Well, what's your go-to car? If you could only had one set of wheels and you had to get rid of all of them, what's the one car?
A Ford Fiesta.
Stop.
There we go.
Stop
The Ford Fiesta.
I'm just kidding. No. If I had to just stick with one car right now, probably a Ford Lightning. I was super impressed after I test drove one. It's super comfortable. It's as comfortable as a Bentley. It's as fast as a sports car. It's as big as a truck.
Did you overpay for it?
Huh?
Did you overpay for it? Because I know that those things were selling for like.
I borrow it for my car channel. I get loaner cars from the manufacturer, so I borrowed it for a week. I would love to buy one, but dealerships are charging like 40, 50K above MSRP, so I'm waiting.
Holy moly.
But it's Ford nailed it, really nailed it. I love the CEO, Jim Farley, who's really transitioning them from ICE cars to EV cars in a big way to try to compete with Tesla. I think they have a real shot. I mean, the Lightning is awesome. Cool,
man. Well, to our community watching, make sure to go subscribe to CryptosRUs. The link to his YouTube channel is in the description of this video. When we bring guests on, they literally ask for nothing in return, and all we ask you as our community is support these people that take the time out of their busy day to come impart their knowledge on us. George, thank you so much. We truly appreciate your time, my friend.
The best bell in the industry.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course, man. And we look forward to maybe bringing you on again in the future. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Or Lightning.
Or Lightning. Yeah. I'm not a big car guy, so I don't even know what it looks like.
Dude, it's the electric like F-150.
What? It's a
grill.
truck?
The grill has like LED like lights in the front.
Interesting.
It's pretty dope looking.
That's
man.
pretty dope.
Yeah.
Very futuristic.
And you can make a barbecue pizza in the back.
Stop it.
It has an electric toaster of it in the back.
Again, huge.
Brick oven.
Again, huge thanks to George. He doesn't go on very many channels, and we've been in contact with him for a while. And when we met him down in Miami, he was one of the. We met a lot of content creators. Him and the Alcohol and Daily brothers. They were some of the most warm and inviting people we met down there. They spent time talking to us. They didn't even know who the hell we were. We had like 1,000 subscribers. not even 1,000 subscribers, right? We hit 1,000 in Miami.
Yeah, when we first
And
met him.
so George is one of those people that it's not only about himself, it's about, you know, the greater good of the crypto community. So George, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. To end the show, there's one last topic I want to talk about, and it's Tim Cook and Apple. Tim Cook backs AR tech, which is augmented reality, over the metaverse. He says augmented reality will become the biggest technology of the future. And in the meantime, he devalues virtual reality and the metaverse. And he says the reason behind Apple not using the term metaverse is that people do not have a full understanding of what it truly is. And remember, Apple is developing several new products based on AR technology, including a VR/AR headset and AR glasses. A great example of AR would be Pokemon Go, where it's augmented reality. You're still in the world, but, you know, it's what it is in the word, augmented. And so, Robin, is this guy onto something, or is he out of his mind?
You know what, man? I actually think this is the first time I agree with Tim Cook, right?
Say what?
Yeah, you know, I think
Well, you agreed with his Apple phone. That's why you have the 14.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, I think it's Bill Gates is a little bit more off his rocker, but Tim
I
Cook,
can't stand Bill Gates, man.
yeah,
Bill
you know,
Gates.
he's had
He's a devil.
interesting perspectives on things. But anyways, actually, yeah, I do agree. Now, I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't discount virtual reality. I think that it is gonna replace a lot of social media. It's gonna absorb a lot of people's time. But I do believe that augmented reality is way behind where it was, you know, where I think it's way behind in expectations for what it's going to be. Also, just a quick shout out real quick. We had a super chat, $5 from Jimmy. Thank you so much. And then Broke Yoshi dropped some memberships. And then Jimmy dropped another $2.
He really wanted to see George's desk.
Yeah, there you go. Now,
yeah, there was no angle on the shot. So,
Yeah,
so you know, for augmented reality, I think that the glasses, I think, is coming. Here's the thing. You know, I did mention I got a new Mercedes. So there on that one, you have the heads-up display, which is essentially the augmented reality on the windshield. And so while you're driving, you'll get the lanes in front of you will pop up, and it'll tell you what lane to be in, you know, what speed you're traveling. It'll give you directions, street signs. It's pretty in-depth. That's displayed on the glass of the car. Now, same thing. You just apply that to your glasses, and you just walk around every day with it. You know, I was talking to someone about its possibilities. Is imagine if you were wearing the glasses and then you were at Disneyland. And we talked about Disneyland incorporating, what was it, Polygon, and partnered with Disneyland. Imagine walking around with the glasses on, and you could see the wait time for the lines. You know what I mean? Like, you could be walking around, you're like Magic Mountain, blah blah blah. Like, you know, you go over here.
I'm gonna agree too, guys. I'm gonna agree.
And then you can go over here. You can look over here. You can see what the price, instead of having to look for the price tags, for example. So you got all the merchandise here on the wall. Instead of being like, well, how much does that cost? Or picking it up and looking at the tag, you're just like scanning. You're like, you got your glasses on. You're like, oh, that's $5. That's $10. That's $12. Ooh, that one's on sale.
And it's
Okay.
gonna be somebody try to change the price with the laptop on the fly.
Yeah, you know. So
Well, I mean, yeah. Once it comes out, there's definitely going to be some hiccups. But I agree with you, Rob.
And then that's just in the retail sector. That's just in the play around, you know, wear for fun thing. You know, I mean, if you think about in the professional industry, as far as like surgeons and things like that, engineers, like just say you have a complex piece of machinery that you're working on, instead of having to pull out an instruction manual, you can literally just look at it and be like, okay, that piece is there, that's that piece, this is this screw, this is, you know, the length, you know, what is the size of the screw right here, what is the size of the bolt. You can literally just see all this in real time. And so the applications that this can enhance our lives and enhance what we see visually, to give you data basically from the internet pulled down in real time that you can match up visually, is an absolute game changer. And I think that right there, that technology is here already. And I think it's here. It just needs to be polished. And so the glasses just need to get a little smaller, a little bit more integrated with the web, as far as, you know, we have the 6G now.
6G. You mean 5G?
No, is it 6G? 6G networks, right?
Already? No.
Rocco, what are we on? 6G or 5G?
Usually it's 5. It just upgraded, but I won't be surprised there is something more. But
Usually it's 5.
listen,
However many G's, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Anyways, the speed of the internet that these devices would use substantially faster, and you can download tons of data and information on a smaller piece of hardware, like a set of glasses. So I do think that is coming before the metaverse will. I think the metaverse thing is still a long-term play. I do think that is further out because the graphics and kind of the eye tracking and all of that. First of all, it's not even here yet, and it's about to be here. We have, I think, next month we have the Quest releases, or maybe it's later this month. The new Quest, what is 6G wireless? 6G networks be able to see? There is 6G. Get out of here. All right. So,
you know what I want to say? I saw the car that you have now at the CES, at the Expo, like 6 years ago. And that was the futuristic things that I saw about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So now you have it on the street.
So yeah, I think the headsets, the technology is not quite here yet. It will be here probably within the next year or two, but it just won't be affordable for the masses to use. When you have metaverse capable graphics that earn a smaller form-fitting headset, right now I think the prices are going to be up above $600, $700, $800. So I think a lot of people are going to be priced out of it. But as the technology evolves, parts get smaller, and then when you start seeing these headsets come in at $300, maybe $400, and they're pretty comparable to real life graphics or like your modern consoles, then at that point I could see the metaverse being more of a factor. But you know what? Get in early, get paid late, right?
Yeah.
Get paid. So
I agree.
Identify the right VR projects.
I think AR is definitely more practical, but I'm not going to discount virtual reality or the metaverse. I think people use that as an escape, like alternate reality. But the AR definitely has more real world use cases, obviously. But that'll do it for the show today. Make sure you're not a member of the channel. Be a member of the channel, support the channel. We definitely appreciate it. Also, check out our merch store. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Join our Community Ran Discord. The link is somewhere in the chat. Marky Mark, throw another Marky Mark. He's the one who runs our Discord. Throw another link to the Discord, my friend.
Find it.
Yeah, Rocco, find it. But that's all I got. Robin, you got anything else?
No, we're gonna start some construction here in the studio.
Oh yeah,
have a new look tomorrow.
Gonna be dope. Anyways, Rocco.
Yes.
Friends, family of friends, and friends of family. We thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. Also, big thank you again to George from CryptosRUs for joining us. On behalf of myself, Robin, and the Don, we love you guys. We will see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, take care. Peace.
See you guys.
Doge jumped a little bit on Twitter news. A joke. Did you hear Luna Classic? Binance is burning like $2 billion or like $2 billion worth of Luna Classic or something like that? I don't know. Anyways, if you're new here, welcome to the community. Come back tomorrow, 10:30. Awesome. Home Depot time. It is actually Lowe's time. Wait, do we still have to go pick up the cutter? Shit. Okay. All right. We gotta go, guys. Love you. Peace.